Okay, welcome. Oh, just a second, I have an echo happening here. Welcome back, everyone, to the 383rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. Okay, Mr. Kesh, are you ready to take some questions?
Yes, I had a very good, interesting
just a second.
clearing the ears.
I have to change a setting here so I can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Sorry, I'm not able to hear yet for some reason. Just let me...
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Sorry, Mr. Kesh,
Hello?
I'm not
Can you
able
hear me now?
to hear in the audio for some reason right now. Just let me check a couple things.
Da, da, da.
Mr. Kesh, Justine here. We can hear you clearly. I think Rick's having a problem his end. He obviously something was saying.
Yeah, I think he's got echo back feed system.
Yeah.
It's feeding back to his system. Can you hear us, Rick?
Yeah, it's just that I have an echo and a bunch of issues happening
You
with my
went through
audio.
the whole commercial the same way.
Oh, really? Okay. I
You
didn't
had a
know that.
bad feedback, yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
Don't worry. Are you ready? We had multitude of different problems today.
Yeah, I've never had so many audio issues, so I'm not sure what's going on there. My whole computer crashed at one point. So, any case, we have a couple of hands up. I have Marinez has had a hand up for a while, so I'll allow her to go first and see what she says. Hello, Marinez. Okay, maybe she mistakenly put her hand up, so we'll go to the next person. Louise, would you like to go ahead?
Are you sure you can connect them? Rick?
Well, as far as I know, it seems to allow a couple of other people to talk, see if they can talk. Salamia and SZ, can you unmute?
Yes.
Hello.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh, for all. You understand me. I am happy to start to teach for Bragadiru team from Romania and other newcomers about our science of soul, plasma science. I'd like to know now the question. Soul of physicality has electromagnetic field and soul of man only gravitational field or only magnetico-gravitational field? And related to this, the link between soul and of physicality and soul of man, and difference between magnetico-gravitational field and electromagnetic field. I'd like to understand this because there are many misunderstandings, and I would like to clarify for our team. Thank you very much.
Don't have any electromagnetic field. In a plasma field, we work only in field strength, and both the soul of the man and the soul of physicality have both gravitational and magnetical, giving and taking. The soul of the man does not just take. So each system has its own dual magnetical and gravitational.
Yes, it's clear. And electric field, how how
Does not exist in the body of the man. We
No.
feel that what we call like electric shock, if you call it, or that kind of thing, but that is at the interface with the physical dimension.
I see.
We do not have, because electromagnetic is in the matter state, and in the body of the man we do not have a matter state, except in the bone structure and the center of each cell, which has a calcium.
Mhm.
And that is within the structure of the physical matter state, but still in a plasmatic condition.
I see. Now it's clear. Thank you very much. I understood. Thanks.
Any other question?
Yes, we've got Ruthie. Sorry, we've got Ruthie with a hand up.
Yes, thank you, Rex. Thank you, Mr. Cash. Thank you for today's beautiful teaching. Your teaching let me link a lot of knowledge from Tibetan Buddhist. They're talking about the light, different color of light. And I think you are telling that truth, which like they are not normally to disclose to people. It's the very deep teaching about that part. It's beautiful. Actually, there's a book. It's about like talking about when people dying, like what they can see. They're talking about the light, the white light, and they are talking about different color of light. And then you go back to the matter world. And which light you see, maybe you go in a different world. Like you became even an animal, or you became something else.
Different light comes in understanding of our own position and position, and interaction of the fields from our soul in respect to the emotion. In the physical world, we talk about happiness, we talk about sadness, we talk about everything else. In the dimension of the soul, we see happiness as a color, which means to me, I accept, it brings me joy. We have spoken about this before, that when we see other creatures of Creator, which they don't speak our language, they have no mouth, we see by the color of their interaction of the fields with us, what they have in their mind, what is their emotion. In the body of the man, we show the emotion with laughter. In interaction with another soul, we see as different kind of, in a way, interaction of the plasmas. And to us, this is common into what you call it universally. This color means joy. This color, I don't want to be with you. This color is, I want a distance. This color is, let's have a child. This color means I love you. And it's understood by all the souls, because the strength of the soul in that level is the same right across the universe. So when mankind sees different light in the process of the transmutation between the soul and the soul of physicality, is to understand this light. It means I'm happy to be in this position. I don't want to be in that position. And gradually we understand this language, like we've been to school, that we can translate in the physical dimension of life. And we have spoken about this in other teachings in the past.
Yes, actually, then I understand there's some teaching like when you meditate, you can see different colors of light. Then actually that is our soul. We see the interaction field between our physical soul and our soul. And actually that is light means our emotion, right? We see
That's
the
how
color
it is. Yeah. We don't laugh. Huh? We don't have no laughter. I'm happy. But that color shows satisfaction. I accept it's something which I like. There are many, many other emotions which the man will come to understand, the colors, as you call it, which we never knew. And in the book where we show the gases, I explain that in a very simple way. We'll see what we call plasmatic colors. Any other question?
Yes, indeed. We have,
sorry, as we run into
oops.
we're back again with it. As we run into some problems in the break and commercial, I want to remind you that next week teaching will be on 7:00 p.m. Central European Time.
Okay, thank you. I'll make a note of that and put it in the various social media.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we've got a question from, or a hand up from Gatwa.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
Good morning, Dr. Gatwa. How is the beautiful land of Africa?
Oh, so far so good. Getting better. I have one question. In Africa, and especially in Kenya, where I live, I have seen when children are born, when they are very young, the small tongue, and I believe it's called uvula, swells when they are young. And usually they cut it. What does that do to their health and to their potential enlightenment?
A lot. It changes character. It changes character. Because that part, you're not talking about the tonsils. Tonsils, sorry, is different than the, what I call the hanging bed. When you change
that's
it,
the one I'm talking about.
Yeah. When you operated on it, you change the character.
So
we've
this is
seen this, yeah. It is tradition, so you create that condition of the change.
Yeah, it may have been introduced by the by colonialists, maybe to dumb us down.
Be a change of character. We see this in I have given a talk, one lecture alone about this some times ago in one of the lectures, one part of it, that this part of anatomy has a lot to do with the physical creation of the man. And has a specific effect. Even if you cut it, you still have the field center of it, which was created by. This is what we are created out of. And if you look in the back of the throat, from the shape, you can talk and tell a lot about behavior and the anatomies of the man. It's one of the most crucial part, the connection between the energies of, or direction and realignment of the fields of the physicality. In the future, scientists will open it up and they will see. Because if you can fold it back in the direction of the soul of the man with what we'll introduce in the coming time, you will see the rapid change in the elevation of the position and the soul. We teach this in the coming time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you. In the coming months, we will teach in a progress to the doctors and to the scientists in the birth of a child without passage through the birth tunnel, especially when we feed the enhancement units. This needs very much the presence of both souls which have created the soul. And it comes as a combination of the two and cannot be touched. And as I said in the teaching, we'll need the presence of both creators. Even if one has died, the presence of the soul has to be done. You'll find out a lot in what we call not the physical death will come to change a lot. We teach this to the doctors and the physicians that a new process of the birth can take shape. But for that kind of birth to be, you need to go through the new way of understanding of the creation of the soul first, and then the physicality, not the present time as the man creates the physicality and then the soul by the interaction of the sperm and egg. It's a different way of creation. Is not as man has chosen to be, and those souls, you have the chance and the ability and the option to be born either way, in the dimension of physicality or dimension of the soul. Any other question?
Okay, we've got a couple of questions in the Q&A. Doug had a question, is the tonsil the dangly bit at the back of the throat? And what results come from tonsil?
Tonsils are different than this bit.
Right.
What I call the dangling bit. Because in the English language, we have a terminology for it, but in different languages use different words and different impression and expressions for it.
Okay, Antonio has a question. Thank you again for this beautiful teaching. My brain has exploded to the possibilities, and I'm looking forward to my soul expanding beyond my physicality. My question is there a boundary to our soul, or can it expand beyond the known universe? And is there a copy of the report from China on the virus?
Copy of the report from China will be released only in conjunction with what we are doing in Iran. It stays within the structure of the Keshe Foundation. No, will not be released because it creates more problem for us outside than inside. We'll do it in a different way, the correct way, through governmental channels. It's the property of the Keshe Foundation in Austria, and it's been done by the Chinese Keshe Foundation team, and it will not be released in public.
Okay, then the first question would be, is there a boundary to our soul, or can it expand beyond the known universe?
Can I ask you a question, Rick? I think you can answer this. If I remember correctly, you said what attracted you to the foundation, that one atom of hydrogen can expand to cover, you remember?
A cubic meter, basically.
Or
a meter radius at least.
Or a solar, or the whole of a solar system.
Well, yes, and literally the fields, if it is able to go even a meter, there's always another hydrogen atom within that meter, according to science. Even in the vastness of space, and when there's very little of anything, there's always a few atoms. So they're all connected. They're the soul of those atoms are all connected. They're like one thing.
Yeah, but the soul, single soul, can cover the span of the universe.
Right.
If he has the right strength to be able to surpass and bring those to be part of it, not to take over. That's the soul of the creator, if you look at it. One single soul can encompass the whole, doesn't need to be just expanding beyond the physicality of the man. If you reach the knowledge and the love of the creator, your soul can cover the span of the universe, which is in a way what the creator is. So there is no limit in the size and expansion of the soul.
Does it learn all of the knowledge of the earth first before the knowledge of the universe? Does all of that become accessible?
In that expansion, the knowledge of the universe, which is within the soul of the man, which is the totality of the knowledge of the creator, is present.
So you can go direct. You don't have to know all the knowledge of the earth first. You can go direct.
It's already there. There are no schools and there are no universities to teach you because it's there. It's like an RNA. You don't create a special school for DNA to create a kidney or the liver. It's within the knowledge. It's the interaction of the fields which creates that kidney. That's what it's got to do. We don't have divisions and factories to create kidney or liver or brain. Interaction of the fields has given the strength, create that liver that the body needs to store information and energy. So it's the same. When we come to the soul of the man, it's the same. Within the soul of the man is the structure of the, what we call the whole knowledge of totality of the creation.
Okay, I'll remind our attendees that you can put up your virtual hands, and we'd love to hear from you. And let's see, we have a question from Ram in the YouTube. In a recent interview, Mr. Keshe spoke of success in corona care in Iran. Did he use the cup of life or the universal enhancement unit?
We only use a cup of life. The same as you do, the same as what they did in China and the rest of the world.
Okay, we have a question from Lizzie in the chat here. She says, thank you for the love you always give us. First question, we are made up of 7 rays, which are? So she wants to know what are the 7 rays?
We are made of many rays.
Not necessarily 7 exact categories.
No.
It's us humans that like to put things in nice, easy box to
framework, yeah. That's where we can understand, yeah.
That's the whole school system is like that. Grade 1 is grade 1 and grade 2, grade 3, etc. But life is not necessarily so neat and tidy. She goes on the second question. You said that at least 7 human beings who elevate their soul will help the elevation of the others. Is it a relationship with each ray that constitutes us?
Depends what you call a ray. We call it a magnetic field strength. And our magnetic field strength in different positions, in interaction with different strength fields, creates different colors or different rays, the strength of the vision of the man, if you want to call it. But in essence, from the beginning to the end, it's the same. Depends which place and what position and what strength you observe that ray.
Okay, we have a question from SZ.
Hello, Mr. Kesh. I'm speaking to you guys from Australia.
Australia, yes. Good evening to you.
I spoke with you a couple of years ago about Hashimoto's, and tonight you mentioned something that was a little bit alarming to me. You mentioned something a couple of years ago that people have root canals. They might have problems as such that might cause Hashimoto's or autoimmune diseases and so on and so forth. I actually had a problem with one of my premolars. And my question is, people who have had problems with their molar tooth or the wisdom tooth, if they go and extract it, are they going to have problem with the issue that you were mentioning? You were mentioning something about jaws tonight that that can control the movements in the body and so on and so forth. Will that cause a problem for them? That's one question. The second question is related to that is I had a problem with one of my premolars, and I had to go to emergency, and they said it's infected and it requires a root canal. And they were looking at my root canals, and they said the molar tooth, which is all the way in the back, had a root canal, and that root canal has been infected. As a result, from the bottom has moved to the other one, is affecting the rest of your teeth. And I was wondering, first of all, if they're suggesting, the biological dentists, they're suggesting you need to remove all the root canals. I have 6 of them already. And if I remove that molar one, then I have to put a denture because there's no way I can put anything else. Is there a way that then one can actually drain the infection through plasma technology?
Yes.
And can you please inform me? I would not, I might not have enough knowledge to understand, but if there is anyone that I can go to, and of course.
Let me explain. This comes into the medical application.
Yeah.
And we try not to go into it. But there is a combination of ganses which you can use. Even the root canal infected can be corrected.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there is, you can do. And you can, even in a painful position, you can use the gans plasma technology to stop and change it. We have the knowledge sits within the structure of and it's been used many times. I advise no one what to do, because then, as you've seen, we run into a lot of problem.
Yeah.
With the others. But yes, look into the ganses, and yes, it can be done. And it actually is very effective within minutes. And it has to be used outside and inside in the gum and outside the gum. And the whole, how you use it, what mixture you use, will affect it very, very effectively. I've seen a couple of minutes to interact. Even people with excruciating pain and infection, doctors cannot find anything after 2 days.
What about the people who are extracting their teeth? Will that have an impact on the jaw? You were mentioning something about the jaw today, that it controls the body's movement and so on and so forth. Will that have an impact on the functionality of the body or the soul?
No, it's in a way with, it's just the way the information is passed throughout the body. We can do, it's a neurosystem control. There is a philosophy in the world of medicine in some branches that they tell you that each tooth is connected to one organ or one part of the organ of the body of the man. And that sits within, so you can control it through there.
I see.
This knowledge is very deep. I use quite a lot, but unfortunately with where we are in teachings and the channels of teaching we use, we cannot do so. But once we go into the total, what we call Keshe Foundation TV channels, a lot of things will be taught on the television line where we don't teach on the YouTube and the others that can bring other problems for us. The teaching will change quite a lot. We can go in more depth with the television, our station, having a permanent house in, what do you call, that we can teach and we can present live teachings, yes. We don't need to rely on the YouTube and others that they can create us problem.
I understand.
You can use this again, we can use the gases for different applications of even the infection within the organ of the body of the man.
Were these the same 4 ganses, main ganses that we use?
Partially, but no, they're different, yeah.
They're different, okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I hope we can keep your teeth and your tooth.
Oh, that's great.
The root canal is...
because I'm in a situation that I have to make a quick decision, and I was very hesitant to do it because I don't want to put a denture and losing all my teeth, because that's what the biologic dentist is.
But you got to understand what was used for your root canal and how it was done. Root canals get infected when they have access to the opening outside through your gum, by the side of your teeth usually. And you can use the same passage to use the plasma technology and the field transfer to get rid of the infection. I've seen people with a big cavity of infection at the bottom of the root canal, and within 2 days, doctors can't even find out where it is and how it was. It could be a mistake. But actually, the pictures show there was an infection there.
What about the tissues surrounding the roots, actually?
You repair them.
If they're infected, will that also take care of the surrounding tissues as well?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
The receding of the gums can be done. I think Howes from England was telling us that a few weeks ago, that he uses some sort of ganses of COP1 and his uses for so much, and his gums and teeth have changed. It's in the teaching. Let's speak to Howes, see maybe he can give you an idea.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry we cannot be open. If we were in the studio, we could shut down the YouTube and the other channels. I would have taught you directly.
I totally understand. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Look into COP 1 and 2 and understand the work of it.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. When you use ganses, always when it comes to position of the tissues and life and like plants and animals and whatever, always use it in conjunction with the amino acid of itself. Like when you use cup 2, use the amino acid on top of it. And because of high level of copper content, field strength, and the tissue of the man be made of the copper, that's why it's red, then you find out the interaction very fast. And in a way, as we have seen in the surgical world, the copper is one of the best disinfectant in repairing or used in the what we call operating rooms. Nowadays it's become fashionable that the operating rooms are made of all copper plates. But the reason for it being is that the copper in the immediate use oxidizes, and part of its oxidization creates nanolayer, which become barrier to all germs, and that's how it works. So when you use copper content ganses, you create the same position. And just because you add the amino acid to it, you link to the body of the man. And if you yourself have used or produced the cup number 2, you'll find out the interaction is much faster with anything which is living. I hope you understood.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Well, I'm just having a look here. It looks like you've gotten the YouTube questions. Let me just have another look here. From M. Vicken in the YouTube mentioned that we need more practical examples in order to understand exactly plasma technology.
Go to CERN.
Go to CERN.
They play with plasma.
Is CERN useful to actually learn about plasma, or is it a whole different?
The human plasma is the way the plasma we talk about is totally different than the plasma the scientific world at the moment speaks.
Is there in the more advanced plasma technology teaching, would that include the things that they do?
See, as long as you define the way they do the plasma as singularity of fields, you have a problem. When you speak as a plasma with Joule, gravity and magnetical, then you have understood the true essence of plasma. This is a problem we have between the plasma we explain and plasma they explain in the world of physics.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? The world of science doesn't consider the gravitational fields of the plasma. They always look at the expansion of the fields of it and how they can expand it or open it. But they don't understand they have to feed the gravity for it to feed the plasma to control it. You control the easiest way to control a plasma is through this gravity than through its magnetical. But the present world of science chooses the magnetical by compressing or opening it.
Okay.
Anything else?
Let me see, back to the questions here. Alfred had asked, is the corona test with the swab in the back of the throat in any way related to what you enlightened us about the inside of our mouth?
What does that mean?
He's trying to relate the swab test for corona in the back of the throat, and maybe that's something to do with the dangly thing in the back of the throat, and maybe there's some interaction there. I'm assuming that's what his question is about. Perhaps
The thing is, you got to realize there is a lot of pushes in the present testing to put the swab in your nose or the back of the throat. Officially, a lot of government, lots of laboratories can do the back of the throat. They don't need to go into your nose every time you want to do the test. So you can stop that kind of, some people say it's very painful or whatever. A swab from the back of the nose, as we've seen, is acceptable by most of the governments. You don't need, especially now that the restrictions are coming down and it's just on the swab test. A lot of laboratories, they understand if you got the infection in your nose, through the back passage goes to your throat, to the back of your throat. So when you do the throat, they actually cover both of them. And some laboratories, you can ask, because I know a lot of people start moving and they see this as a problem. They say it's very painful. You can ask the laboratories which they do the blood test or the swab in the back of the throat, and is acceptable by laboratories.
Okay, Dan has a question. I'm trying to translate the English. It says, changing the position of the tongue towards the soul, and the physical soul is variable to the Maggrav fields like the star formation.
What does that mean?
I don't know. He needs to clarify the English better on that. I don't understand that. Maybe he means putting the tongue toward the roof of the mouth might make it more like a star formation. I'm just guessing, I don't know. Second part, vocal cords vibrate due to soul or tongue position or emotion.
What? Can you repeat that?
Vocal cords,
Yeah.
voice box, vibrate due to soul or tongue position or emotion? Question mark.
Combination of. Combination.
Okay, fair enough. I have a question from Wolfgang, who says, hello, Mr. Keshe. My name is Wolfgang. I am from the German-speaking group. In a previous workshop about 1.5 years ago, you talked about a ring being formed around the Earth, which was completed in 2020. My question now is, what is this ring made of and why was it created? What does it do on Earth? Thank you very much for the answer.
We talk about this in depth in the coming time. We are setting to create a condition of the change of the soul of the planet in what has been the shortfall and what has not managed to transfer energies to its inhabitant that has brought this present situation.
Okay, James has a question in the Q&A. Says about teaching ethics. Is telling someone to follow the 24 commandments ethics? And if not, what is?
In a way, yes. In a way, it sets up all you need, if you understand it. Because the ethics of the 24 commandments is the ethic of the soul of the man, translated in the dimension of physicality. And so it does not need to be anything else. Any other question? Can you hear me? Or you cannot find any more questions?
Sorry,
Mr.
my
Cash, there
microphone
are
was off.
a number of
Mr.
hands
Keshe.
up. There's Kay's got his hand up. Would you like to
Pardon?
see Kay? Kay has his hand up.
Yeah, it's a little hard to hear you there, Dean.
It says K has got
Yeah,
his hand
Kay
up.
has got his hand up. There's a couple of hands that have come up. I was just reading a question from Ginger as the hands were going up there. So perhaps I just finished with that first.
Okay,
She
read the
mentions-
question.
She mentions that she saw a video of a successful fertilization of an egg the moment that a spark of light of 500 billion atoms of zinc appeared. Why, she says, would that, I've heard about that before, that at the moment of fertilization, there's like a spark that happens, and apparently related to zinc, or perhaps zinc oxide.
It's the level of the emotion and the soul of the man. Don't forget, zinc is one of the encapsulators of the soul. You have the zinc, that's why we use a lot of zinc in what we have, the brain damages, because it's part of its constituent of the physical structure.
Billions of sparks of light.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Kay. Then we have Ed and Azar.
Good morning. Can we hear me?
Yes, hi, question.
Good morning, Mr. Cash. This is Kay Coles from London. God bless you. Beautiful teaching. There's questions which I've thought of about the small tongue that you've been referring to. Just wanted to understand if the small tongue, you can actually use it to expand soul. As you just said, if you were to point it backwards towards the soul, could we transfer the energy from the small tongue to the soul by holding in that position? And I'm sure we have all experienced and observed sometimes when you breathe, there is sound like as if you're holding your little tongue stuck at the back of the throat, so pointing backwards. I just wanted to know, does that little tongue carry quite a lot of energy from our physicality where we could divert it back to the soul for expansion? Thank you very much.
This is used quite a bit by what we call understanding of it. We can use the tongue, what we call the small tongue, how to divert and control energies. We've seen that and we explained that in the case of most of the people who create what we call epileptic attacks. How they channel the energies from the brain, from the dimensional direction of the soul into the dimension of physicality. And then becomes the information which cannot be translated, and then it becomes what we see as an epileptic attack. Any other question?
I'm not sure if Ed has a question. Sorry about that. Gotta watch the buttons I push tonight. Ed, your microphone is open. Would you like to go ahead?
And good morning. Good morning, Mr. Cash. This is Oza. Since you spoke about uvula, and my question is, now, if we cut everybody's tongue and nobody has a tongue, we still have sound of creation, which is like we can create sounds. We call it sound of creation. So o. So when you create this sound, and then you use the rapid breathing with the change of direction of the fingers with each sound, does this a possibility to reach to the position of releasing the soul? Because my experience tells me, I started to practice this sound in the beginning. So when you sound like ah, you don't use the tongue, but the sound was very limited. Now with practicing, this sound can go very with a high pitch, and it can go very, very for a long time. Even with your breath changes in a way that you can hold your breath, you can exhale or inhale, and you hold it for a long time. So is this a way to kind of open the gate that the soul can take over the physicality? Because with the combination of the sound, with the rapid breathing, something happens. A light starts to appear right in your forehead when you close your eyes. So is this the way the soul is released? I'm trying to figure out, am I in the right direction?
I'm going to answer you in a very strange way, or in a very correct way, maybe. I don't think any one of us, or very few of us, has seen as many of a small tongue as you as a dentist. Every time you open the mouth, you see it. And from now on, try to, when you look at the mouth, try to see how you characterize the person with the shape of their small tongue. And then you can literally define how a man feature and then guess or decide in how they will be. Or as you know them, this is the shape of the small tongue, and in how the physicality and emotion manifests itself in reality, in the physical dimension.
And Mr. Cash, talking about uvula and a patient, what I notice when patient open the mouth, some patients' uvula is constantly moving like a it's just the same way their tongue is move, and some people is more like quiet, like is steady. So I noticed that difference, but I haven't paid attention to the shape of it yet, but I will try.
I think if I was a dentist, I should be able to tell many things by looking at it. Even you should see certain structures, and you can ask your patients if they suffer from such a problem. With the back structure of the mouth, you see a lot of things, it gives you a lot of indications and understanding. And don't forget, the Chinese are very good at it. The Chinese doctors, when they look at the tonsils and the little tongue, I call it, they can tell you a lot about the character of the person and how things are. Is the knowledge which we have ignored in the West, but some doctors in the East work by it.
Mr. Cash, talking about, I mean, as a dentist, I mean, I'm understanding the plasma now. I really, I mean, looking at the uvula is one thing, but when I start talking to the patient and look into their eyes and the way they talk, I can already know who they are, because it gives me a lot of, because before I couldn't do it, but now I can just read through the patient. I mean, read through anybody talks to me, because you understand the plasma, you understand the emotion, you understand the field, the way they move their hand, the way they talk, the way they stand, the way they gesture. All this stuff tells me a lot about them. But then now, one thing you said about Chinese people, my Chinese patient, very, very different than American patient. Why? Because when they sit on the chair, they're actually very, very different. The minute they open the mouth, they're gone. I mean, it's much easier to work on Chinese people than American people, because American people are all over the place. Their tongue constantly going everywhere and it gives you a hard time. But Chinese people, the minute they open the mouth, as if they're dead, I can just work on them very easily.
Yeah, that's what you say in the dentistry. It's the logo of the Manchester University Dental School. But we are not used to in the West. A couple of years ago, Wang Lin and I, we went to a scientific exhibition in Beijing, and they have a machine that looks at your tongue and tells you all the problems you have. It's automatic now. It's just like actually like a sitting enhancement unit. You just sit and you open your tongue, your mouth, and the shape and everything, and then you go to a doctor, and the doctor tells you what has been diagnosed by the machine. Wang Lin, you're in the background. Would you like to talk about it? Because you did that test.
Actually, Chinese has a lot of knowledge for the traditional medicine to watch you from your tongue, from your little tongue, and your face, your hand, this kind of things. But I am not good at it. But actually, they last time we were in the exhibition, right? They have this machine. Because to diagnose with this, so many knowledge is so like so much rely on the expertise of the doctors. Some doctors need to practice years to can diagnose by touching your wrist for the pulse. For the blood pulse, or this, or actually we have a lot of teaching now. Just only can watch the shape of your tongue to know which part of your body has problem. And
but they are computerized now, haven't they? A computer does it faster.
Yes, that's much faster, because for personally to do it, you need a lot of expertise, practice, and to understand. But now they have this kind of program and computer scan and can told you that. Yeah, it's amazing.
Mr. Cash, talking about the Chinese, what you asked Lynn, my husband studied that, so he can tell from the ears, from the eye position of the eye, the lips, the nose, everything in the face, what kind of a person it is. So one time I want to hire a lawyer in Peru, so I took him with me. So he looked at the lawyer, he said he's a good one because his ears are like this. So he was actually, he turned out to become a good lawyer. But then he was looking at son of the Giuliani on TV. Son of Giuliani, his eyes is very close. Then he said, this guy cannot tolerate other people. So when the eyes are so close together, they come toward the nose together. He says, these people are not intolerant of other people's opinions, so they lose their temper very fast. So he really knows a lot. Anytime I want to do something with someone, I ask him, what should I do with this person? Should I work with him or I shouldn't work with him?
Yeah, you use your mobile, what do you call it, husband, information bank. Yeah, but the knowledge of the tongue, the small tongue, is well studied by many cultures and is not something new. But we always looked at the shape of it. Now we understand we can use it to elevate the soul, but we need to understand our process.
But actually, Mr. Cash, we think we are lack of this small tongue. We have a lot of books telling about even what Azad talk about the shape of the ear or the tongue. and or your hand, but we don't have a book to describe about the small tongue. So maybe you can write down that so you can add on
There's
the
no
knowledge.
book number 10 for the small tongue. No.
Lynn, if you've been in Tibet, in Tibet they have, or China, they have these balls, they call it singing balls. Actually, with those, they do a lot of things like that too. It's not about the shape, but they make the sound that with that sound, you change the vibration of your body. For example, if you hold a ball over your belly and you create the sound of creation goes through your belly and vibrates through the whole body and change the vibration. And then when I was there, I figured it must be with the magnetic or gravitational field of the body, because when the sound is started, when the guy started sound, I opened the tears. My tears came down. So did my daughter's tear. We both started to cry. So the guy says, okay, it touches something in you. It has to do with this rhythm. So they have a whole pattern of the sound with the rhythm, with the singing ball.
So where did you feel it in your body?
When you buy a ball, which is called a moon ball, you put it on your belly and you sound it. Actually, huge vibration goes to your belly, and it goes through from the center of your belly, goes to everywhere and opens up something.
Right.
And
But what about chanting that might have certain vibrations that would actually vibrate the, what is it called, the amygdala, or the little dangly thing in the back of the throat?
Chanting, I think, is another thing. Chanting with the certain words create, for example, in India, different gurus, they have different chanting. It definitely has some effect with the sound, which is specific for that guru. But the singing bowls, actually, they have classes, and very ancient thing in Tibet and China, and is a huge, market for them. Actually, tourists, when they go there, they buy it. It has, actually, you have to take classes if you want to change the vibration of each part of your body, and it really works. But this is an ancient knowledge, which is like, I just got to know it now.
So which one is for the amygdala then? Is there a certain size bowl or a certain technique to vibrate that part?
I don't know anything about it because my knowledge is very limited on the singing bowl.
Mention here, the singing bowl is that a different size of a ball, and they use a wood and turn it around and it vibrating. Is that what you are talking?
Have you seen a singing bowl? They have two kind of handling for it. One, it goes inside the ball, you go inside the ball. One is outside, and the sound are different. And as I said, the first time the guy was trying to show it to us, when he created sound, he measured with the device. And then when he created one sound, both myself and my daughter, our tears started to come out. It says, okay, it touches you in a certain way. So this needs to, a certain emotion is coming out of you. So with this can be released.
Yeah, so you mean it's that bowl? Because I know in Tibet there's a bowl can a different size and can have a different sound. And even I see a video, people even use it to make music. And of course, it is a different vibration, touch different chakra and different emotion of people. And also for the chanting, each time when I go to the temple or something, when the whole group of people are chanting, I can feel my body starting to get hot. It's like the vibration is so strong, and that light is so different frequency. I can see high energy just directly go through your body.
Yeah, you're correct, Lynn, because I did the chanting in India when I went for the 8 days, just be silent and don't look at anybody or see anybody. When we did chanting for like 2 hours, the same thing over and over in a certain way of sitting, the spinal cord with where the neck comes up to the C1, it gets so hot and gets so, something happened there. It get kind of I think it was like a kind of a blockage there. suddenly my whole body went to convulsion, and the convulsion created a whole shaking of my whole body, and then my head moved forward, and I had to, and it's kind of a light illuminated from my forehead, but I just had to come out of it, and then I had to start over. But then when it gets to the certain point, again, it's stuck at that same point where the neck, where the C1 is, and the same thing, the convulsion, the whole body happened. But I really didn't know what to make of it. But it was happening for almost every day.
That's interesting.
We had a comment from Doug about throat singing from Mongolia and Tibet is amazing, he says. And also there's Aboriginal singers from Northern Canada that do that as well. And that, I think, would be something that vibrates that center, that part of the throat, that the amygdala, basically. And is the amygdala what people have called the so-called throat chakra? Maybe instead of the vocal cords or the actual throat itself, maybe it's that that organ that they're referring to. Any ideas, Mr. Kesh? Allowed us to kind of ramble on here.
No, it's good to understand different opinions, to listen to different opinions, and has to be shared. And many of us try and experiment different things. And you see many ways, different races of man have achieved the same thing, but chosen different path of achieving it.
Well, we've got one man who's done lots of experiments here by the name of Jalel. Perhaps he has his hand up, so perhaps he has something to say about the topic. Go ahead, Jalel.
Thank you, Rick. Good day, Mr. Cash. By your explanation about the soul and what is the extending of the life take place in this condition? If the purpose only to...
What are you talking about? Explain yourself first.
Okay. You said the most important thing that we create a soul, and the soul comes out of interaction, physicality, and the emotion. And when this soul gathered strength, it can leave the physicality. Like we talked a lot in that in the past, Mr. Cash. It's like a cocoon. So this physicality is a cocoon to this butterfly to mature and go out of this cocoon. So what is the purpose of, in reality, what's the purpose of extending the life in this case? Or it's not the matter here. Enhancing the way of the life, enhancing the way of the knowledge, that when it needed to work with in the space, the soul, it can handle it. Is it lack of information in this case?
The truth is, when we talk about extending life, the life in the universe has never changed. We all have the same age. Be it the man, be it another star, be it the galaxy, be it the universe. Our time, our source, our essence of creation is the creator. So we all have the same age. None of us is older or younger in respect to the true essence of time, because we are all created from the essence of the same origin, the same time. The creator wasn't created in parts and then you are part section 1, part 2, but we are manifested at a given place, position and strength for a certain time of visuality or observation by the eye of the man. Otherwise we are at that length, we're just carrying on. And we're just physically visual at this point. And this is the reality about our existence. But we want to say extend life. We want to extend life at this position for how long? But in essence, we came from the creator. And from interaction of many fields, he ended up with us at this position and time. But in totality, we are the same continuation of. If you look in a galaxy where the center is here and Earth is somewhere here, or our solar system somewhere here, so the extent of the life has passed us and is growing that way. So in true essence, from the center, we are the same. We came from the same origin. We still have the same reality of time and place, where our time is the creator and the place is within it. But where from that point of creation we are positioned ourselves, and what do we see in that position? If the Earth is here, or our solar system is here in the universe, how does life look for those who are here? But what is on the other side that position this one on the edge of it? Because these field forces of other universes have to block the movement, or they have to retract that this can carry on with its expansion. But the time the reality comes is this the creator of what we call the creator, or is this, including what is the other side, is the totality of the creator? Do we have a creator of our universe? Do we have a creator of our galaxy? Do we have a creator of our solar system? Or do we have one creator which has created the totality? And so we are all from the same source. Has no time, because we all have different position, but time is the same. This field at this point was part of the creator at the point of inception. It's not coming from somewhere else. So time is meaningless in a bigger essence of creation, is the position and the strength which that has taken to become manifest itself in that position and place, and the strength. Because you could have this strength in the edge of the universe, right here at the beginning of time. Depend how many collisions he had and what the strength he was released at. So it's not exclusive. And we could have the same strength anytime across this span and within this boundary. Zero time, zero positioning. This is part of the defense technology. We don't look at what we send. We look at the span of time which we have created and can bring all the same. In a way, when you have a rocket coming towards you, is standstill, it doesn't exist. Because it's you who expands inside beyond it, and it becomes part of you. So what is life? Why do we want to extend it? Because itself is part of everlasting, ever existing. We just want to expand this by a few years where we are in that framework to be more physical. Or with what we taught today even, you have learned you can make sure that you can exist in all dimensions. Then you are always living and you always exist. Is the fountain of youth the true essence or the reality about existence through the soul of the man, not the physicality? Because you ever stay young, because you're as young as where the creator started, because you are part of the original rays and the fields of creation. I hope I answered you.
Yes, Mr. Kash, thank you very much. It's a clear, little bit clear now.
A little bit more. One step at a time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shall we call it a day? Or do you have some more questions?
Got one more perhaps with Ed has a hand up here, and he's been waiting, so perhaps he can go ahead.
Good day, Mr. Keshe. This is Ed from Indiana.
Yes.
I have a question. I'd like to understand more about the heartbeat that you talked about in our last Knowledge Seekers workshop. Not the physical heartbeat, although I'm sure that's related, but the heartbeat of the soul and the heart, and tuning to the different heartbeats of where we want to go and the different entities and the different universes and stuff like that. Is the heartbeat dependent, or what is the heartbeat dependent on? Let me just ask that.
It is the balance field between the gravitational and magnetical in respect to given environmental condition and heartbeat. Our heartbeat is what it is, but is conditioned to the heartbeat of the earth and conditioned to the heartbeat of the solar system. If we change the heartbeat of the solar system, the sun, our heartbeat will change because it has to interact different way. In a way, it's a blood pressure, if you call it. So it's but that pressure is a magnetic field pressure, not what I call physical pressure. We create the heartbeat very easy. And we can change the heartbeat very easy. It's part of the arsenals of the Keshe Foundation in new technology. We don't teach it. We stay away from it because it can be used the wrong way, but we control. We have a very much say, and knowledge seekers are learning more and more how to control it. When we say in Iran in the next 12 months we can travel to moon, it's not that we're going to build huge rockets, huge launching pads. No. We go to the essence of creation. How we understand this and how fast we can control it and how we can manipulate it to create a condition of.
Is our ascertaining of the heartbeat, is it a perception of a rhythmical occurrence, or is it a perception of a strength?
Is the interaction of different strengths in magnetical and gravitational crossing point. It's very much if I explain to you where you find the surface of the earth and then the gaseous layer. It's a change in the heartbeat of the plasma of inertia.
So as I think about
We got to
Sorry, go ahead.
realize we have heartbeats within the heartbeats within the heartbeats, which they interact and are independently operational on their own.
Yes.
I envisage upon my return to Iran in next few days, in coming days, as I've requested from the officials, we directly go for space travel, space transportation. The rest is a byproduct. And it's not that we're going to build huge laboratories. We're going to make the smallest entities man could ever imagine that can fly. Mankind has gone for these huge gas tanks, solid fuel or whatever liquid fuel. We go for an atom in that tank to take man across the universe. You know what they say, how many atoms is in 1 gram? And we go for that atom in that 1 gram, where the present world of science goes, how many tons of that can be put in and pressurized to find position. And he has found limitation with it. They work in a different way, as we call it, the macro and micro. And there's a limitation dimension of physicality, where in the field of plasma there is no limitation. We showed the governments that in the next 12 months we change the course. And nothing can stop it anymore. There is no way, there is no world leader, there is no one on this planet which can stop the course.
Mr. Keshe, can you take one more question from YouTube?
Yep.
From God's Eye View. God's Eye View has a question. I want to know, has anyone been able to contact their own soul? And if so, how do we do it? How can we control our soul if we don't even know what or where it is?
You have a good view of the God? Ask.
I think that's a fair answer.
I think you should have chosen a different name.
Or someone with that view should have an answer to.
They've had the whole knowledge
in themselves.
Yep. Shall we call it a day?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Down this road. And please remember, next week we start at 7 p.m. And we keep the integrity of the work and the workshops the same. And we hopefully will learn more from each other in the coming time. I'm looking forward to teach in different part of the world, as we've done in past few weeks. As before, we do not disclose where and how and where we are. But now we work with a limited number of knowledge seekers close to us, and they work with us as we arrive in different destinations for the purposes we arrive. And we're crossing the span of this planet in different shape or form to be present in what we call in Tehran after the elections by the end of this month. And there is no process that can stop us from the new cycle of development. And even those who can try, who have tried before, they'll find out they fail in the path. And mankind is in for a new cycle and new generation. Do not forget that there is a conference, first scientific conference of the Keshe Foundation, to be held on 20th and the evening of 21st of July in the city of Bucharest. You have to speak to the knowledge seekers of Romania. There are limited seats available, and restrictions of the corona applies. the same. We expect to give a conference in Tehran before my departure into Romania, and we expect to give a lecture in China in the coming months, and the same in Washington. Everything is getting planned in the background through different operations of the Keshe Foundation groups. And gradually, as they come up, we will let you know on how you can participate. Get in touch with the Romanian group of the Keshe Foundation Corona if you want to register to attend. And primarily is a one-day conference with the following evening summing up, which is set by the knowledge seekers of the Keshe Foundation in Romania. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. And also you had a first international virtual conference that you attended, I think it was May 28th or 29th.
Yes, in Philippines.
The recording for that is just now available, I think. I just noticed that, and I don't have it immediately here, but I think it's available. I know it's circulating in the Telegram. I don't know if it's a YouTube video or how we can access that yet, but it will be available through some of the groups at least.
Yes, in that conference we explained and we announced for the first time that the Keshe Foundation have found a solution to Corona. And we wait to go through the systems of validity by the Iranian scientists and revelation of the totality after the election of the new president. The technology is will be shared through governmental channels, and in a way we don't see, as we explained in the what we call virtual conference, there is a new way, there is a new understanding that we can, by disinfecting the environment or balancing the energy fields of the virus of the environment, we do not need to do a lot of other things which has become traditional. And we are hoping to start this procedure very rapidly in Tehran as a setting examples, and we let the other nations to follow, where we see a solution in a different way, in a advanced technology, a space technology, and then we set the scene for the other parts of it. The Iranian team is working relentlessly to organize everything that happened, return the space technology, the environmental and the health side of the Keshe Foundation systematically is applied and take shapes in Iran very rapidly. At the same time, as we know, the Chinese team is working very hard with a new, what they call location, and it's a big challenge for the Keshe Foundation worldwide to bring these things in. And we explain more as we become operational in the next few months, step by step, in the new exhibition center, new position for the television channel, and everything else which we are busy with. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Mr. Keshe, for yet another workshop here. Sorry for the interruptions in the beginning there. Had a lot of audio issues today, to say the least, but it all seemed to work out, and your voice is coming through loud and clear, which is good to hear. Thank you. Okay, this has been the 383rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop on June 3rd, 2021. And we'll have another Knowledge Seekers Workshop next week at 7 p.m. Central European Time instead of 9 a.m. as usual. So keep that in mind, and we'll have that posted in the social media as well. And we have the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace coming up as usual on Tuesday of next week at 4 p.m. Central European Time. And keep tuned with the Keshe Foundation Facebook site is a good place for the connections to the videos and other media that links that are being posted from time to time. Okay, I think that's it. And I believe Dean will take us out, and also a special thanks to Dean for being willing to learn the steep learning curve of video production in the KFTV studio there. And he's doing very well under the circumstances. So thanks, Dean, for all your help. And I think you're going to be a great host and production manager there once you figure out all the buttons. And thank you for that. Okay,
Thank you,
thanks
Rick.
everyone.
It's a learning
go
curve,
ahead.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
At present, I need Mr. Kesh to stop sharing the screen so that I can play the ads. Thanks, Rick.
Okay, let's see here. I think if I spotlight you, then it should come through. And if we need to stop Mr. Kesh from sharing, we can just do a quick share of anything